We will not be stopped. It is absolutely crazy what has happened to us today. I told you about the technical issues that we were having. We decided to go to a Wi-Fi hotspot, one of those little portable devices as a thought that might work. That, too, got cut out, and we are now using a third-party cell phone because I'm not going to stop this message. It's that important. I don't care who you are out there trying to stop me. If you're real or in the spiritual, whatever it is, it's not going to work. We're talking to Justin. Now, Justin, I want to point out something that seems kind of obvious, and you would think Christian voters wouldn't be bamboozled. But we're told that a good tree produces good fruit, bad tree, bad fruit. When somebody has a change of heart on an issue, you would think that we would want them to mature in that change of heart. I mean, we don't even let a new Christian lead Sunday school. I mean, why would we let somebody who had a recent change of heart lead the entire nation, right?
Absolutely. Look at the example of Ted Haggard, who, he's been through a whole lot. I think he's a great guy. I saw his documentary on HBO. The guy obviously has been through some things, but the church wasn't just ready to put him right back in the pulpit to begin speaking again. People, when things happen, they want some accountability, and they want some accountability so that there's some proof and some fruit in what these people are saying that they believe in and stand for. And here, we don't apply those same thoughts and ideals and principles to our politics, and it doesn't make any sense. So, we say, well, I trust this guy, and yet even Jake in the last segment was saying, well, I trust that Santorum has had this change of heart. But then in another word, he says, I don't trust any of them. Well, how, if you don't trust any of them, that's the whole point of the Constitution, is that we limit their power, because man cannot be trusted, because power corrupts ultimately, right? So that's the whole concept of this Constitution and this Bill of Rights and this limited government that's slipping away from us in this republic, because we continue to, like you said, get bamboozled or get distracted on these other issues when, literally the Bill of Rights are being stripped from us as we speak. I manage the blog Evangelicals for Ron Paul on WordPress, and one of my recent blogs is called The Neoconservative Attack on the Bill of Rights. And when you go through the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment, the 10th Amendment, these are all being attacked and literally legislated out. And we as a people cannot continue down this path and expect that our freedom of religion, of morality, of any of it, can be kept up. When the government continues to attack us on these levels, you look at the NDAA, you look at the Patriot Act, you look at the health care bill and what it's doing with the Catholics and forcing them with certain things that go against their religious ideals, and you look at the 10th Amendment and how the federal government has assumed all of these things that are supposed to be limited from them and only given to the states. And Josh, what do we do to get people to look at this stuff and read the Constitution and understand that we are literally losing our republic right in front of our eyes, and we're kind of cheering all the way?
Well, and the thing is, when you look at the framers of this nation, and they did do it from a Judeo-Christian perspective, but they did it in such a way in understanding that the heart of man is wicked. So they didn't want to set up a mandatory, this is how it has to be scenario. They set up a scenario that allowed for growth and for freedom and protected the ability to make mistakes and recover from them. When we're looking at the structure that we're looking to try to put in place now, where we want to legislate morality, whether from the left or from the right, in such a strict manner, it doesn't allow us room to be free. It doesn't allow us room to grow in any relationship with God, because things like the NDAA and Patriot Act and H.R. 3166 make it illegal to live out that faith in reality. We're just expecting the government to live out our faith for us.
Well, and to that point, I mean, we talk about legislating morality, and I've heard the argument from Jake earlier. I've heard the argument from Mark Levin and others from the hard right that all legislation is moral legislation, and you can say that in a broad sense that yes, you shall not murder, you shall not steal. These are crimes against property and life. But when you talk about legislating morality from the sense, I think a finer sense, when you talk about the drug laws in the United States, you talk about gay marriage and those sort of things, most of those laws are so short-sighted in the sense that when another power comes into play, they will take those freedoms and they will take those laws and use them against us. In other words, the state, why should I be asking the state for permission to get married? It's not the state that gives the power for me to marry my spouse. It's God and it's my religion. You used to ask people, what church did you get married in? And the reason they would want to know what church you got married in is because they would want to know what authority the covenant was under. So if some obscure church, in California wanted to say that these two males were married, well, it wouldn't matter because that religion isn't part of the broader context. It's not like we don't look at David Koresh in Waco and say all these Christians are just like that. I'm in Dallas, Texas here, but that was a radical. That was a guy that was doing that. But had he been marrying homosexuals, would we go, oh well, gay marriage is a problem? No, we don't give the power to the state because we as individuals don't want the state then to use those powers against us later. And we can't be so short-sighted like the framers were not. They saw the future. I mean, they were able to see into the future and think through these things and understood that by giving away these powers, the state would then use them against us eventually. And that's what I fear, will happen and does happen over the long haul. So when we try to legislate morality in the sense, sure, murder and these things are based in morality, but those are protecting life and personal property and freedom. We're not talking about, telling you what you can and can't put in your body. I mean, overeating kills more people than, the drugs that we put in our body or these hard drugs and the stuff that we spend billions of dollars on in the war on drugs. And yet, go to the evangelical churches and say, hey, we're going to make a law that says that you can only have 2 servings of pie.
Well, why not? Because that's gluttony, right? I mean, if we're going to be hardline moral legislators, gluttony is a sin, so we have to get rid of gluttony. So we should legislate. And of course, I'm being sarcastic.
Gluttony. We have to legislate adultery. We have to legislate. I mean, why not? Why don't we just write a law that says that everybody has to love their neighbor, and everybody has to, that they can't covet their neighbor's goods, and let's just write a law that says that, why don't we just write a law that says that you have to honor your father and your mother, and that you have to love God? I mean,
well, exactly. Or if we're going to be really strict about it, there are 612 laws in the Torah. Are we going to wash our right hand first and then our left hand? Because where do you make the distinction? For all of morality comes from God. Well, then, right, you need to wash your right hand before your left hand, right?
Well, and this is where we as Christians have to really get up and stand up and think about this. Even Christ, when he came, he said that the law brings death, but that grace and salvation in Christ brings life, and life more abundantly. So if that's true, then how can we be saying that we're going to bring the law and legislation to try to do this? I mean, if God himself gave us the freedom to choose, then how can we as individuals say, no, you're not smart enough, or we need to protect you from yourself, or we need to do these things? I don't buy that premise. I mean, God gave us free will, and God gave us individual responsibility. And if he himself is not going to, has said in his word that the law doesn't work, and he had to come up with another provision.
Hold on one second. We're up against a break. We'll continue this right after this break.